Top 10 famous people who died in an airplane crash. Number 10. Buddy Holly, Richard Valens and JP the Big Bopper Richardson, February 3rd, 1959. The trio of singers who were on the threshold of becoming megastars at the time of their death were on a promotional tour through the American Midwest during the late winter of 1959 when they decided to forego enduring another long night on their often broken-down tour bus and instead take a small plane to the next gig in Morehead City, Minnesota. Taking off from the Clearwater, Iowa airport shortly before 1 a.m., the tiny four-seater Beechcraft Bonanza 35 flew straight into the teeth of a worsening snow shower, inducing its 21-year-old pilot to turn back. Unfortunately, the man lost his bearings during the process and flew the plane into the ground some 6 miles northwest of the field, killing all 4 men instantly and depriving the world of 3 of its most promising up-and-coming musicians. Number 9. Knute Rockne, March 31st, 1931. Perhaps no man did more to revolutionize the game of football than Notre Dame head coach Knute Rockne, nor has there been a coach since that could have come close to matching his extraordinary 105-13-5 record over the 13 years he was coach of the Fighting Irish. That's why his death on a flight from Kansas City to Wichita was such a shock to the nation and a blow to the sports world. One of 5 passengers on a Fokker D5 trimotor, a rickety early commercial airliner, it was determined that the glue holding the struts to the right wing came apart, causing the entire wing to break off and the plane to plummet several thousand feet to the ground, killing all 8 on board. Happening as it did during the height of the Great Depression, his death merely added to the general malaise evident in the country and robbed football of one of its most innovative thinkers. One can only imagine where he might have taken the game had he lived. Number 8. Will Rogers and Wiley Post, August 15th, 1935. Few men were more admired and loved than the endearing humorist and actor Will Rogers. He almost single-handedly managed to lighten the nation's mood during the Great Depression through his folksy humor and witty observations. Best known for his statement that he never met a man he didn't like, Rogers was flying with a friend and legendary pilot Wiley Post on a tour of Alaska when the Lockheed Orion Explorer seaplane they were flying in caught afloat while trying to stay off in the fog near Point Barrow. It crashed in shallow water, killing both men instantly. Number 7. Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Cowboy Copas, March 5th, 1963. Just as the Holly Valens Bopper crash 4 years earlier took the lives of 3 of the biggest names in rock and roll, this crash claimed the lives of 3 of country music's biggest names, including one of the most popular singers at the time, Patsy Cline. Flying out of Dyersburg Municipal Airport in Dyersville, Tennessee, the Piper Comanche she, Hawkins, and Copas were flying in hit bad weather shortly after takeoff and crashed into a forested mountainside 90 miles east of Nashville, killing everyone on board. Interestingly, in the months preceding the crash, Cline had confided to friends that she had a premonition that tragedy was on the horizon for her, and even went so far as to give away personal effects and hastily write out a will on airline stationery while flying between engagements. She proved to be as good a prophet as she was a songstress, it appears. Number 6. Audie Murphy, May 28th, 1971. This highly decorated World War II hero-turned-actor, best remembered for the many westerns he starred in, died when the twin-engined Aero Commander 680, in which he was a passenger, crashed into Brush Mountain near Catawba, Virginia. The pilot apparently lost his bearings in a rainstorm and flew the plane into the ground, killing all 4 on board. What was surprising about this crash was that the pilot was a veteran with over 8,000 hours of flying time to his credit. Unfortunately, he never bothered to obtain his instrument rating, so when he flew into a rainstorm with 0 visibility, he promptly flew it right into the mountainside. Murphy, a Congressional Medal of Honor winner who also fought drug, alcohol, and gambling addictions all his life, was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C. Number 5. Glenn Miller, December 15th, 1944. The famed big band's leader, known for such classic hits as In the Mood and Sentimental Journey, got into a small army utility plane near London, intending to fly to Paris to meet up with the rest of his orchestra, and simply disappeared. What might have happened remains unknown, though many believe that his plane was hit by bombs jettisoned by RAF bombers returning from a failed mission over the English Channel. One of these bombs may have struck the plane and sent it into the water, though this has never been confirmed. In any case, the man and the plane are missing to this day and remain one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. Number 4. John F. Kennedy Jr., July 16th, 1999. The handsome son of the late president was piloting his Piper Saratoga II from New Jersey to Martha's Vineyard when his aircraft went out of control and spiraled into the Atlantic Ocean a few miles from the vineyard, killing him, his wife, and his sister-in-law instantly. Apparently, Kennedy, who was not instrument-rated, got confused flying over the ocean at night and simply piloted the plane into the water, a common hazard of flying over water at night when visual references can be practically non-existent. In a curious side note, his aunt Kathleen also died in a plane crash in 1948, while another uncle, Joseph Kennedy Jr., was killed in a bomber over France in World War II, making it appear that the Kennedys have something of an aviation curse about them. Even Ted Kennedy was almost nailed by the curse when a light plane he was passenger in crashed near Southampton, Massachusetts, in June of 1964, leaving him badly injured. Number 3. John Denver, October the 27th, 1997. The folksy singer, best known for his musical tributes to nature and environmental activism, died when he crashed his recently purchased, home-built, ultralight aircraft into Monterey Bay, California. Denver had over 2,700 hours of flying experience and was certified in gliders and many different types of aircraft. However, it appears he had only recently purchased the small aircraft and was still familiarizing himself with it when he lost control while trying to change fuel tanks, which could only be accessed by a valve awkwardly located behind his left shoulder. Had he a few hundred more feet in altitude when he tried it, he probably would still be regaling us with his songs about forests and nature today. Number 2. Carole Lombard, January the 16th, 1942. This popular Hollywood actress, best known for her roles in a number of screwball comedies of the 30s, was, at the time of her death, one of the highest-paid actresses in Hollywood and was married to handsome leading man Clark Gable to boot. In fact, her future seemed even brighter until she decided to do her part in the aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor and set off on a Bond tour to raise money for the war effort. Taking off from Las Vegas en route to Los Angeles, the TWA DC-3 she was riding in crashed just 20 minutes later when it flew into a mountain southwest of the city. The crash killed Lombard, her mother, and all 22 people on board. Lombard's husband, Clark Gable, was so distraught over her death that he, like many Hollywood stars at the time, joined the Army Air Corps and spent the rest of the war making training films for bomber crews. Number 1. Rocky Marciano, August 31st, 1969. No heavyweight boxer in history has done what Rocco Francis Marchegiano, Rocky Marciano, managed to do over the course of his career, go undefeated in 49 straight fights, 43 of them by knockout. On the eve of his 46th birthday, Marciano was on his way to a friend's house where a surprise birthday party was waiting for him when the small plane hit bad weather outside of Des Moines, Iowa. In the darkness, the pilot, who was not instrument-rated, tried to set the plane down at a small airfield outside Newton, Iowa, but hit a tree 2 miles short of the runway. The crash killed everyone on board and ended the life of one of boxing's most legendary figures. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button in the top right. Our channel has loads of other awesome videos just like this.